So if you're looking to pay less credit card fees as a barber and save potentially thousands of dollars per year, this video is for you. The best part about all the things I'm going to talk about in this video is that it might take you an hour's worth of work. So the first thing we need to talk about are the 3 types of credit card transactions. So if you take cards as a barber, chances are you're doing at least one of these 3 things. So when it comes to the types of credit card transactions, there's going to be 3 main types. There's going to be a card present transaction. That's when the card is being physically inserted if it has a chip, or swiped on the side of the machine if it doesn't have a chip. There's going to be a contactless payment method, this is something you've been seeing more in the past few years, where they can basically tap the card. If the card has a contactless chip in it, they can tap it, or they can use their phone like Apple Pay, Google Pay, or their watch, and they can actually tap it and pay that way instead. And the third way is called non-card present transaction. The exact wording that your credit card processor uses might be different, but these are the 3 main type that I see. And a non-card present transaction basically means that you are typing in the card manually yourself, or the client is doing it when they're booking their appointment online. So you have a card on file requirement, for example, or they're prepaying for their appointment in advance. They're going to be doing a non-card present transaction. And of the 3, the least expensive transaction to process is almost always going to be the card present transaction, where they are physically inserting their card or swiping it on the machine. The reason why is that these three transactions are being basically weighted by the processor in terms of risk. When the card is being physically inserted, that tells the processor that this person is more likely to be the person that is actually using the owner of the card, since they physically have the card on them. And sometimes they're typing it, they have to type in like the zip code associated with their billing address to prove, like a gas station, for example. If you insert your card, you might have to then type in your zip code as a way of preventing fraud. So if somebody doesn't have the card on them, it's going to be more risky for the bank to process that payment. Now that you know this, now you can start to come up with a plan on how you can actually reduce your credit card processing fees. All of the credit card processor is doing is they're basically the middleman in between the client's bank and your bank. They're making sure that the money moves from A to B. So all you got to do is make sure that you make that process smooth and less risky, and the credit card processor will reward you for that in the form of less credit card fees. The first way that you can reduce how much you're spending in credit card fees is simply by asking clients to physically insert or swipe their card if they have it on them. Even if you have their card on file, or if they have Apple Pay, you always want to make it easy for clients to pay so they can choose whatever method they want. But if you have the option, if they ask you which is best, ask them to physically insert the card, because you're going to automatically save like at least 1% on your credit. Let's say typically credit card processing rates are anywhere from like 1% to as high as like 3 or 4%. And the more risky the transaction is, and the more risky you are as a business, the higher on that spectrum it's going to be. Definitely go higher than 4%, but you want to be as low as possible, because that's just more money in your pocket. Even though credit card processing fees are a tax deduction, it's more in the sense of cash flow. Like why would you want to pay more than you have to? You can just keep more of that money rather than maybe waiting until tax time to get it back. Even without changing anything, you can simply just encourage your clients to physically insert or swipe their card. Swiping is becoming a lot less common now that a lot of the cards that are coming out now have the chips in them. So if it's a newer card, it's almost always going to have a chip. Where swiping the card comes in is if they don't have a chip yet, or if they have like a gift card, for example, because you still have to pay to process gift cards, unless it's your own gift card. But if it's like a Visa gift card or something, you're going to have to pay to process that. and those might not have the chips in them yet. So just ask your clients to insert their card or swipe it if when they are paying for their haircut. So that way you can pay less credit card fees. If you don't have a reader, then get one. It's a one-time expense. Another way you can reduce credit card fees is by, if sometimes clients ask us, like, is it better to tip in cash or on the card? Well, in terms of if our goal is to reduce credit card fees, then it's almost always better to tip in cash and then maybe pay for the service with their card. So that way you're not actually paying a credit card processing fee for just the tip, right? And you get to keep 100% of that tip because it's cash. And then the credit card fee is only being applied to the payment for the service. This is why I think tipping is becoming a lot more common. It's because the credit card processors have realized that they can make a lot more on fees if they start encouraging everybody to tip. Pretty much everywhere you go now, almost they're asking you to leave a tip for things that didn't normally require tips before. That's because the credit card company is realizing there's a lot of money to be made. And in addition to processing for just regular goods and services, you can also make money from processing credit card fees on tips. So to get around that, encourage your clients to tip with cash or to pay for their whole service in cash, and then you can get around that fee altogether. But the most effective way to reduce your credit card processing fees is to basically shop around. So what you want to do is go to like 3 other processors. Make sure that one of them is your bank. Chances are that your bank offers credit card processing, and it may be significantly cheaper than what you're currently paying. And the bank would love for you to use them as a credit card processor because it just makes everything easier. Like, you're processing and accepting payments and everything within the same bank. And then try to get at least 2 other quotes from completely different credit card processors. Take the best one and go to whoever you're processing your payments with now and ask them if they can match that rate. So even if they knock it down by like 0.5%, I mean, that, depending on the transaction volume that you're doing, that can save you literally thousands of dollars a year simply by doing maybe 1 hour of work. It might be like 30 minutes, but going online and make sure it's a reputable company and try to get at least 3 different quotes, preferably one of them is from your bank, and then take those quotes to whoever you're currently using to process your payments and ask them if they can match that rate. And if they can't, maybe it's time to switch up your credit card processor. You can do this every year if you want. Getting your credit card processing fee from like 3% down to like 2.5% equates to like hundreds, if not thousands of dollars saved per year, simply by just shopping around, trying to find the best rate, and asking whoever you're currently processing with if they can match that rate. And depending on who you currently use too, they might even lower your rate without even having to do that. I know like companies like Square, for example, kind of buried in the fine print somewhere on their website, but if you are processing above a certain amount, like if you're above, I think like 200 something thousand per year in revenue, you can actually ask them to reduce your rate without even having to shop out your cards. And a lot of processors might offer that, but they're not going to volunteer. They're not going to like email you when you hit a certain threshold like, hey, do you want to pay us less? You're going to have to ask for that. Those are a few ways that you can reduce your credit card processing fees and literally save thousands of dollars per year. If you want to get access to more videos like this and you want to be part of a community of barbers and a mastermind where we're all looking to grow, earn more, and reach our full potential, join my mastermind. It's in the link in the description below. I hope to see you there.